Antonio Moore give us the definition of puffyization?
Yeah, man. You know, I really looked at it from a standpoint of just using time. You know, when I looked at Jay-Z, Baby from Cash Money, not Dre, I'm sorry, Jay-Z, Baby from Cash Money, Puff Daddy, and Cube, I looked at their birthday, and they all was born in '69. And actually, if you look at Dre and Timberland, they was born in the same year as well. And the reason why that's important isn't a conspiracy theory. It's just timing. What it led to is that they were perfectly timed when the Telecommunications Act passed. And so they was at that age, they were 26, I was 16. They were 26, so they were just young enough, and they had just been on enough that when the Telecommunications Act passed, and to be clear what that did in a simple form is it took it from thousands of songs being on the radio throughout the country to basically maybe 100. And so that locked them in permanently, almost like till right now. And so that what also it did is it made opulence over normal stuff be played on the radio. So we got to a point where all these artists we're talking about is what you don't have and they have. And what it created is now a whole generation that's grown up with the idea of masculinity based around making other people feel bad. I got a article I did on All Hip Hop called "Conflicted Existence of Black Men," and essentially what I talk about is how black young men that don't even have jobs just want to be Superman. How about you just be a good pops today? How about you just be a good brother today? Take that.
The thing that we don't think about. First of all, the internet and computers were meant to assist the man, not to think for the man. And the truth is, most of my fans, they live in Walmart towns. That's the reason why Walmart is so powerful.
Wow.
Like most of the folks that we touch, they're still bumping CDs in their car.
Anyway.
Like there's only a small amount of people, which are running the world right now, that are on the internet. But real people, real black people, they can't afford the internet. They don't have smartphones. So what we have to do is it has to be a conglomerate effort of what we all said. But this is the part that really bothers me, and I wanted to go back to what you said. I'm gonna give everybody one. But this is the problem that I have with our people.
Shit!
No. I appreciate it. And hopefully they're gonna pay too after they saw what you did. But is it not amazing that black people allow the same system that they criticize to pick their leaders?
How about it?
Yeah.
Say more. How about it?
And look at the channels that we're getting our revolution from.
And that's my and David.
That's why I was
and David. This is my point about. I totally get where Jeff is coming from, and I think in our minds we gotta have like a revolutionary soul. But I think at the same time, the reality of stealing your radio and making you not have a projection voice, where your uncle owns the radio station, he gonna just put you on like Petey and see Talk to Me if you haven't the movie. Kind of explains
Great
it.
movie.
And so I guess for me coming back to it, I feel like we're not really understanding the gravity of what they did in '96
Yes, they did.
and how that changed the mindset of young black men for a whole generation. You know, when I sat with Jerry Heller and had breakfast once, and he was explaining like NWA and Eazy-E. It wasn't all organized like in the movie. It was just a bunch of dudes who grew up hard, who wanted to show the world what it's like to grow up hard. Now, they like to take it and write it down as a business plan, and then have you get shot twice, and then have you on the corner selling dope to somebody, even though that might not be nothing that you went through. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to put out a certain image back to what you were
selling a story.
Yes.
But what people don't understand, black people learn through something that's called tacit knowledge. Most white people learn through explicit knowledge. That's the reason why they read and they record history the way that they do. Usually because we're tribal, it's passed down. It's something that's talked about.
It's moral.
They are always trying to create an algorithm for everything we do because we do soul music, we do soul cooking. And once we get you on Fruity Loops, once we hook you on the voice machine,
we got it.
We got an algorithm, because think about it. Pop music wasn't a sound. Pop music was just popular music. But once they created an algorithm and a so-called pop sound, then that's something that they can regenerate, and then they can replace you.
Right.
That's all that they're trying to do.
Let me add one last thing.
They're trying to reduce soul to science.
Right. So you gave us Brandy, we'll give you Britney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends.
I was there.
Would you say
Right?
Friends with Queen Latifah show?
Oh yeah, Queen Latifah
You
show.
give us Hammer, we'll give you.
What's
Vanilla Ice.
And what I will say, Jeff, one last thing is back to the technology thing. I understand your point about technology being able to expand the amount of people that can use it. But we got to realize what's happening right now. These billionaires, you look at the Gawker case, you look at Buzzworthy, you look at Bezos buying Washington Post. You know, technology, as much as we believe can expand the amount of people who get access, it also can consolidate the amount of people who can control things. And I think we're seeing that in the internet space and not really being totally aware of it. Because what happened with the Gawker case with Hulk Hogan, basically they shut Gawker down. The guy funded Hulk Hogan's case and got Gawker shut down.
Right.
And so, like, this technology isn't always this space of opportunity.
So,
Bobby, Kev.
a minute ago, we were discussing they, them, those, and
American, here we go.
that's my heart. But what I'm getting at is this: we can make somebody that's very much flesh and bone mythical by referring to them as they, them, those. They become.
Well, shit, they in here right now, Dr. G.
But he's flesh and blood, and when you see us and him in a room together, then that eliminates the myth.
Right.
Because he's not smarter than us, he's not better than us. He's a human being just like we are, and I think it's very important that we start breaking down the myth of Superman and recognize that wherever they got that one step at a time, one day at a time. And for us to reconstruct a narrative that supports our sustainability, it starts with changing our concept of who we are going up against. We're going up against human beings at the end of the day.
You know, Uncle Bob.
Kev,
Wow.
A good example.
Wow, I don't know if that's fair to say.
A good example of what David Banner was talking about, how they get the best DJs. There's a documentary on Showtime called Stretch and Bobbito, and these were two DJs back from the early '90s who had a small little radio station out of Columbia University, and it wasn't a very powerful. The signal wasn't very powerful, but pretty much every hip hop artist who came through the '90s went through Stretch and Bobbito. They had to come there, they had to perform, they had to do freestyle. And then their show was really big up until about '97, right, a year right after the Telecommunications Act, and Power 107, they bought them and brought them in, and then again you started to see all the consolidation and the dying down of, or the commercialization of the hip hop towards that. So I was just going back to what David Banner was saying about that.
The thing really quick, I don't know if that's true. I don't even want to speak that into it. Yeah, I'm going to hold that. Just so y'all know, because I like people to know what's going on. I just heard one of my best homeboys just died. So, like, I don't know if that's true. I just saw it on the internet. I hope that's not the case. But the reason why I put that out there, because sometimes, I remember one time a girl told me, she was like, David Banner, you acting funny today. And I look back at her and say, maybe because my dad just died. Because my dad had died that day. You know, people don't think, again, that we real live people that go through real live shit. And I'm just sitting here, I was looking for your tweet to retweet what you said, and then I'm looking through and they say, like, my homeboy dead. And I'm like, how can you even register that right in the middle of what's going on? But I want to add something to what you said. I always tell black people want to be free, but they don't want to let go white people's toys. So we have to recalibrate what success is. Because when you say you want to be like somebody who has done what white society has done as a whole, we talking about slavery, we talking about the Native American.
Yes.
So it's like, I tell black people all the time, you're going to fall too, just by a residual effect if you continue to hang around that. So even me trying to sell 2 million, even though I know that it's possible, I don't look at it from that standpoint. If as a independent artist, I can clear 100,000 and I'm getting 80%, no, because I'm got to pay my people. I get 50%. That's why I usually try to just clear 50% and pay out the rest of it. Because I was going to tell you, that's the reason why I believe that your show is so successful. Is because you help. And so the universe conspires to pay you back. Like literally by what we do. So in me saying that, dude, like if instead of us wanting what they have, just slow down and build a foundation again.
So watch this. We got a Jew on the show, Dr. Mark Goulston. And a lot of people be like, why is a Jew on the show? Why you got a Jew on the show? These conversations should be behind closed doors and us alone and blah, 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 blah. Listen, if your definition of success is authored by the Jew, guess what? You keep him in business. If you do what he's saying to do, what we've been saying to do, fuck running over there to Warner Brothers, RCA, Sony, whoever, and build it yourself, because now the internet allows you to do such a thing. Just like he said, I heard I used to work for Loud Records. I heard Steve Rifkin say it before. I don't have to sell, this album don't have to go gold. I would like it, because I'm gonna be rich. I would be even richer. But if the Alcoholics sell 80,000 copies, we're doing billing. We're billing. Shit is getting paid for.
Well, what they don't know, Zo, is on that level that I found out, if you ship and we barely have stores anyway, but if the stores didn't send it back, the major labels were getting paid anyway. But the artists were not, because they didn't know about it.
Or the artists had to pay for the buybacks.
But this is the question.
But the label keep the bread.
So this is the question I got for you. My little bro
Cold game.
My little bro is 25, 26. He was at a club, like BT events, Yo Gotti on stage. Everybody in the club watching Yo Gotti. Have we reached the point, due to Snapchat and Instagram, where the collective energy of the Earth, Wind, and Fire, and people are watching Yo Gotti, not because they appreciate his talent, but because they want to stand over everybody too one day. I want to see how I'm going to stand when I get my chance. He actually, one of his boys tapped him and said, I'm not watching him, I'm watching myself.
Oh, of course. Well, there's a great reason why everybody looks at rappers and goes, I can do that. Because the bar is so fucking low. Okay? When I fell in love with hip-hop, I can tell you where I was standing when I heard Rapper's Delight. I was in study hall, and somebody pressed play, and my life was changed after that. I knew then. I went home and tried.
Right.
I suck. I can't do this. That divide is gone, because every bar we have is low. The pussy bar is low. Just all the bars are low.
But that's why I was making that point. You can't blame the Jews for exploiting a situation that we kind of, at this stage of the game, help create, help sustain. So here's my thing. Yeah, they exploited us back in the 50s and the 40s, and they was robbing niggas and they publish it, and, it was cold. But now if you go for that deal and you got because they'll come to you and ask you, what's your social media? How many people follow you on Instagram? How many people follow you on Twitter?
What can you say, Joe?
What they trying to say is, if you already got your business set up, yeah, we'll jump into business with you.
Yeah.
When in effect, you don't need them to.
But I think I was part of the lawsuit against Rick Ross, the rapper with Rick. I represented Freeway Rick, and I think we think that artists have more bread than they have, and I think they actually often do need that support to actually exist on a national level, and sometimes I think scaling back and becoming more regionalized and understanding business a little more and understanding who your audience is, like what you did, and I commend you on that. Is what they need to do. Step away and really evaluate yourself, and then attack the people that's gonna hear the message that helps you the most.
But they don't want to give away them toys, though. That's what I was saying. That we want freedom, but don't want to give away the toys. Like the thing that I had to do. My mentor is one of the most powerful black men in construction. His name is David Moody. He said, son, I'm gonna teach you how to be wealthy. And the first thing he did is said, let me ask you a question, David Banner. He said, when you were hustling on the streets, did you let anybody count your money? And I said, no, sir. He said, so why in the hell are you doing it now? He said, I make 80 times more money, and he does. More money than, I know what all my money is, up to $2,000. And he started naming off. He said, how much your accountant get paid a month? He said, in order for you to be wealthy, you have to have a plan for it. The first thing he did is say, go. He said, a car is only supposed to be at most 12% of what you make annually. He said, go sell that fucking Bentley. He said, in order for you to own a Bentley, you need to make enough to buy 3.
That's it.
And so I literally, and I want to show y'all.
Exhibit told me the same.
Keep going out, but I want to show y'all something. Keep going.
Hey, listen.
I want to make a point.
Listen, we got to take a quick break.
Yeah.
But when we come back, Jeff's intellectual rant. The show is hot right now. This is crazy. We'll be back at 2.2.